Good morning, all. I'm Dr. Prashant Udayanamar. I'm pleased to welcome you all on behalf of ITW coordinator to this intensive teaching workshop, ITW 2025. Last ITW happened in August 2019, and it is more than 1 year since then. Because of pandemic, we couldn't have it. But therefore, we see here a good number of faculty members, new faculty members, that is 42, who will be participating in this ITW. We are fortunate today to have our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shobhit Bhattacharya, our Director, Professor Sudhir Kumar Barai. Thank you, sir, for your precious time, sparing your precious time. Now I request Professor Pushpalata, who is the faculty in charge Teaching Learning Center, to escort our director and vice chancellor to the dais.
It's like we are escorting.
No, please. Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor Pushpalata to brief the participants about ITW 2021.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant. A very good morning to one and all present here. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shobhit Bhattacharya, our respected Director, Professor Sudhir Kumar Barai, dignitaries and distinguished professors, resource persons, ITW coordinators, Dr. Prashant, Dr. Neeta, Dr. Gautam, RTSC members, and dear faculty participants. I welcome you all to this Intensive Teaching Workshop 2021 edition. Before I talk about the genesis of ITW and the structure of ITW 2021, I would like to quote, Guru ko paras janiye kare loke ko swarn. Guru ko paras janiye kare loke ko swarn. Shishya or Guru jagat ke do hi one. Of course, there is no denying of this fact that teaching learning is the soul of any education system. Since this is the core of its education philosophy, our educators, nearly 5 decades ago, they thought of the need of training the new joinees in intensive teaching. And for that, it all started with 3 objectives in mind. The first objective was, when any new faculty joins its education system, they should get to know, they should get an opportunity to get acclimatized with the best education system. I think some of you will be able to resonate with my younger self. When I joined the Spitz Pilani 27 years back, I used to wonder, what is this A1, A2, A3, A7, B2, B5, B2 in the BITS students' email line, BITS ID. What is this dual degree? Why some of the courses have course code with BITS or TAC or HSS, GS, what does it mean? So all these things, were there in my mind, and this intensive teaching workshop gives clarity regarding those key concepts and the aspects or features of its education system. So that's the very first objective. Second objective is, because which is known for quality education, it considers quality teaching as its core. And because of that, ITW encompasses training for different teaching methods, also materials, preparing question papers with difficulty level in mind, assessment and evaluation, technology-enabled teaching. So these are some of the things which are part of ITW. The third objective is very important. It fosters an environment in which our faculty members, they can make use of their own teaching experiences, their experiments, whatever pedagogical innovations they do in the classroom, they can make use of that as a kernel for their pedagogy-related research and publish that in quality research journals. So with this threefold objectives, this ITW has been conducted. And over the years, this ITW structure has evolved. There have been changes based on the needs, challenges, opportunities. I'm not going to get into those details. However, I'll talk about the structure of the present 2021 edition. We are going to have this in two parts. ITW part 1, as we said that we will have sessions which will be lecture cum practicum sessions related to flipped classroom teaching, instructional design, technology-enabled teaching, assessment and evaluation, and student engagement and bids. So these are some of the modules that will be covered in ITW part 1. ITW part 2, which will be held next Saturday, 27th March. There, because we have 42 participants, so we will divide them into 6 groups. That means 7 faculty participants will be there in each group and 4 resource persons who are experienced and who have volunteered to be there for giving their useful, tips. So in this ITW part 2, each participant would require to deliver a demo lecture of 20 minutes with the proper mix of Blackboard plus technology and PPTs, whatever way the faculty participant wants to structure the demo lecture. It is not to test the knowledge. Resource persons, based on their observation, they are going to give a handful of tips by following which you can always improvise your teaching. So the focus is entirely on intensive teaching. So before I close, I would just like to share with you the handbook that you have, ITW 2021 handbook. This is the visionary idea of Professor Barai. Thank you very much, sir, for your guidance and encouragement. And for this booklet, our ITW coordinators, Dr. Prashant, Dr. Meeta, Dr. Gautam, they have been working tirelessly for past 1.5 months. This is how it is there in your hand. And Dr. Ashutosh Bhatia, Dr. Virendra Singh Shekhawat, and Mr. Atul Rotla, they have worked against the hard-pressing deadlines, let me share with you, for ITW website and for this live streaming. So I think they deserve a big round of applause. I'm very sure all the faculty participants, they will find this ITW edition very useful for their professional career. And once again, I thank you all for joining us for this ITW 2021 session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for briefing the participants and also for the appreciation. I request Professor Bhattacharya to address the gathering.
Professor Barai, Sir Pushpalata, my dear colleagues, dear participants, dear colleagues as well. Good morning. Thank you so much. It's a very pleasant job to do and delighted to be here. Good news is I don't have a prepared text. Good news for you. May not be so good for me. So, pandemic does weird things. It has increased the participant number swelled to 42, as you know. And it has increased the external research grant from previous financial years. The amount was 50 crore rupees, including CSR and alumni grants, to 220 crore this year during the pandemic year. Pandemic does weird things, and it depends on how you respond. Yesterday, I heard an expert, a pharmacy expert, speaking and saying that typically all over the world, a vaccine usually takes about 5 years. Some vaccines have taken 7 years to complete all the steps required. But then, when you are fighting with your back to the wall, you do near miracles, as we have observed. So let's do near miracles, pandemic or not. So, good teaching is good. It's necessary, but I'm afraid it's not sufficient. I'm sure you know that. So, BITS Pilani is trying to be a concomitant teaching and research institute of repute. It is in a transformation track. It is still not complete. It was and will be and has been and is a fantastic, really one of the very best in this country, a teaching university. But that's no longer sufficient. So while we swallow the pedagogic pills, we must, and I capital, bold and underline, we must do fabulous research. So fabulous research not at the cost of brilliant teaching. It doesn't have to be. And vice versa. So let us clear that up very candidly, boldly, and shouting from the rooftop. Absolutely. Okay? Make no qualms about it. It is what I believe in. It is what this institute believes in today. Doesn't matter what somebody else is saying. Ignore that. Bold, underline. Okay, that's out of the way. Let's talk very frankly. You shouldn't be worried about it, but there is a small problem. When you enter an engineering school, typically engineering schools have this glorified entrance test. I'm talking about the student. When you enter, the past record is useless after you have entered. Your JEE rank or BITSAT rank or higher secondary score or whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. What you do during those 4 years matters for the rest of your life. Your JEE rank rarely gets you in something. It doesn't really work. Similarly, it's not easy to become a faculty member of BITS Pilani. But once you have entered, that fact is absolutely nonsensical. What you do over here, what you deliver, is going to matter. You cannot keep on writing that you did your PhD from this out of this world university and you published those fabulous 29 papers from your PhD and postdoc. You have to prove yourself, unfortunately, once again. And it should happen naturally. It should happen naturally. You shouldn't worry about it. Your existence, your success should not be linked to your familiarity or proximity to a seat of power. Must not be. Make no mistake, those are the shortcuts. If you want to adopt early in your life, you are bringing disaster to your career. If somebody tells you that be nice to me, I'll give you promotion, do not talk to that person ever again. So those shortcuts like those unethical, there are many unethical shortcuts in life. If you discard them now, it's better for you. I'm sure you don't, none of you will get into those, but it's just a reminder. I have seen it through my life, many. There will be few successes like that. In this country, it is possible. India is not the best of the cleanest country in terms of integrity and ethics, sure, and values. But then that's a minority. Good people will surface up, always. Will be visible. So what's good teaching? We didn't go through, when we started our teaching career, we didn't have any of these pedagogic exercises. By no means, please note that I'm not saying that these are not useful exercises. They are, but they are not sufficient. If you do not know your subject, no pedagogic tool will be able to help you. Absolutely not possible. You have to know the subject. You have to know the conceptual pitfalls. Those subtle pitfalls where if you are not very, very clear, particularly in very conceptual subjects, which is not really based on information, for those subjects, if you do not have a conceptual grip, you are dead. Nothing can rescue you. Step out, do something else in life. So there is no shortcut. You can put your name in a PhD thesis where you didn't contribute. You can put your name in million papers where you didn't contribute. Will not be able to rescue you. No way. Those are unethical shortcuts you must discard now. Should have done it yesterday. But I'm sure nobody in this room would do that. That's all right. That's what Bispelani is known for, and will continue to drive that. So I send a signal from my end that I mean these things every day. If you use the silly textbook for ease of your life, you are dead, doomed. You've got to use the best, the most robust textbook available globally for your subject. Anything else is just silly, it's nonsensical. Please don't. You are hurting yourself. If you can't solve the question paper you have set yourself in the stipulated time, if it's a 3-hour test, you should be able to solve it in 2 hours because you know the questions. If you don't do that exercise before you submit the question paper, you are making a grievous mistake. You should be able to solve that paper in 2 hours. Then only you can ask the students to do it in 3 hours. I have seen millions of question papers where it's not solvable within the stipulated time by anybody. Please don't do that. Don't test them for speed in a semester exam. It's not an entrance test. You are asking for their understanding of the subject. You're not asking for their speed, for God's sake. So those are the silly things people do. Don't have a sadist feeling when you set a question paper. This sadistic pleasure is undesirable in a teacher. The students are here to learn. You're not having a war with them. So please do it with the velvet gloves on. Okay? So classroom teaching, I don't want to get into it. A good teaching in our days is no longer good teaching. That's very sad, but that's the truth. That's the truth because the generations have different expectations and technology has done a good bit of disruption. So all that, I don't want to get into. We need to be aware of it, and we need to be acting on the basis of that awareness and knowledge and information. So what is good teaching should be natural to you. I don't think any pedagogic scaffold will be able to tell us that one person will teach, everybody should teach identically. That's absolutely wrong. So that's how brilliant teaching evolves. Every individual comes up with interesting ideas and techniques, and we should leave it to that. That's the ideation opportunity for every individual. And also it changes so much from a subject to another subject. What is good in subject X is not necessarily as effective in subject Y. So we should not straitjacket things, never we should. So also the levels, a fundamental subject, the way you teach, and application-oriented applied subject, the way you teach, these things will vary. And I have seen time and again, but fundamental to all these is what I said earlier. If you do not know the subject, nobody can help you. So that's what we are looking at. We are looking at good research and good teaching concomitant. That's what we are looking at in you. And just relax. Well, I may not be that level of relaxation. You've got to work hard also. But there is nothing chasing you. People worry so much about, oh, how do I get regularized after 3 years? Is that the chase in your mind today? Then you are in the wrong business. That should happen naturally. You just go about doing your job well. Yes, you have to write proposals. Yes, you have to bring money. But you could be the out of this world researcher with ideas who is able to publish single author papers in the top journals without any research grant. That's fine. We are not necessarily looking at a little bit of everything. If you attain the peak in one vertical and you are relatively not visible in another vertical, it should be okay. We do look at it that way. There are many, many myths of falls in the tea shops. Do not listen to them. Well, listen to them for fun, I do that, but not beyond that. It's a very simple process and absolutely transparent. So I don't want to take longer than this. Just go on with your own nice, sweet little academic life. And above everything, enjoy what you are doing. That's very, very important. Do it with integrity and ethics. That's nobody can reduce the importance of that. Victory without values have no meaning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. I request Professor Bharin to say a few words. A very good morning to all of you. There was a book called Accidental Prime Minister, and I look like an accidental professor. I never wanted to be teaching, by the way. Accidentally, I became a professor. And I'm here to tell you that this workshop is very, very important. Anyway, to just give you about the intent of this workshop. As I said, that I was an accidental professor. I never wanted to be a faculty member. I never wanted to be a teacher in my life. But somehow I ended up doing this. But in the process of this whole journey of the academics, what actually it just kind of touched me was my PhD program at IISc Bangalore. And when I was doing a PhD, those days we did not go through the proper research training. Okay, it is like you learn by yourself, like you are put into the swimming pool and you try learning swimming. And that way we learn. And this is where the main aspect of the importance of a good teaching, the importance of a good research, which actually came into picture. And that is where I learned that why the teaching is so important, why some professors are so popular. Popular is one thing, and to be famous is one thing. Okay, so there are two different things. Anyway, so this particular aspect of a teaching makes you much, much better as a researcher also. And that is where, if you are doing a quality research, it requires a proper, very good communication. And that communication can happen with the stimulating, intellectually demanding discussion. And that can happen only when you are interacting with the students. And that is where the teaching becomes very, very important. The intensive teaching workshop is going to give you just a broad guideline in what sense you are supposed to go about it and so on. But what is important is that, as Professor Bhattacharya highlighted very critically about the research and its importance, I also feel that teaching also requires a research by yourself. How do you really make the class very, very exciting? How do you really make things much more exciting so that the people we do not only do teaching, we also make the learning experience very, very exciting. And that is where our contribution will come. So all of us has a major responsibility of doing this exercise very exhaustively, and in the process do some kind of a very interesting aspect of it. And I'm sure the workshop does not mean that it's one-way monologue. Actually, it is the place where
You will discuss among yourself also different good practices you follow while doing the teaching, and in the process you develop yourself. As I said that I never did a teaching any point of time until I joined IIT Kharagpur as a faculty member. Until that, until PhD, I never taught, I never teaching assistant. And the first day when I was supposed to take a class, and it is typical that in IIT system when they say that the undergraduate student and that the first year students are like a fire. Okay, and I was given the first class, and that too actually my senior professor was very generous and very kind, that they said this guy should be put into a fire line. So they gave me first year mechanics course. And I can tell you that I never forgot the first lecture which I took. 3 days I had sleepless nights for taking that particular one class. Okay? Because I never taught, and this is the first time I'm sitting on going to the stage in front of 80 guys who are like looking forward to like meet somebody, and then all senior people told me that the undergraduate students are very smart, and in the first day if they get a bad impression about you, your life is okay, you are gone next 30, 35 years, where as long as you are in this institute, people will say you are a very bad teacher. And that becomes all the more challenging for me. So every time I'm in the middle of the night, I'm trying to kind of think about it. Just the first lecture and the first line, what I'm going to make a statement, and then I go to the other side of the thing. I think student will ask me this question. So what will be my answer? And then I come back again and say, okay, this is going to be my answer. Then I go to the next stage, and then I say, okay, now I made this statement, immediately the student will catch me. What will be my answer? This is the process which actually is, and I tell you, I can't even see my hairs are right, actually raised, because I just still think about that first lecture. But that is something where it's an involvement about the teaching. And as Professor Bhattacharya very rightly says, that it is an experience, it's a journey which is actually everyone has to enjoy. And we don't take it as it's the sake of completing the course and we want to just teach them. No, please don't do that. This is something which I did it in my courses. I always tell the students that first day I go and show them a syllabus book, and I say, what is this? And everybody can read that it is written syllabus on the top. I said, this is what? This is a syllabus. I take out a kerchief, I put it on this. What is this? Syllabus is covered. The story ends. I don't have to teach anymore. I said my course commitment is over. I finished my course. Because I showed you the syllabus, I covered it. So you cannot complain to my director and say that you course nahi padhaya. मैंने तो पढ़ा दिया, cover कर लिया मैंने. So that is where the story ends there. But after that, what I do is that most important thing is that whatever we do, it should be an exciting experience. And if it is not exciting, student will remember your teaching. If you get excited about it, it generates a curiosity. In your teaching also, you should be able to bring that quality among the students that they also feel like researching on what they are working on. And that is where the teaching becomes more and more exciting. So anyway, I think this workshop, I can tell you, is going to do a lot of good things because we have a lot of senior professors and all the faculty members who has been instrumental and has been kind of been part of a very good teaching. And as the landscape is changing, the time, the days, our teachers were teaching us, our faculty were teaching it. I still remember those yellow, dilapidated notes to now the digital world we have come, and in the stage where the technology has created a disruption, and that is where now we will have to kind of adapt ourselves. How do we really make it our class is very exciting, and all this will be embedded together. Earlier, our PLC workshop, which was done when we had to migrate during the pandemic to online platform, and we wanted to start the last semester. That time, different aspects of online teaching, evaluation, assessment, and all that, a very exhaustive workshop was done by PLC. And I'm glad that the PLC has taken a responsibility of this ITW where we are going to cover everything about it so that you can get the basic framework. And after that, of course, the sky's the limit, how you become very creative and innovative. I just want to end with a very lighter anecdote or kind of a story. This is the Panchatantra story. I'm sure everybody knows about it. Now, why I'm talking about, because the learning is more important, the teaching is more important. So in Panchatantra, there was one story, is that I'm sure everybody knows about it, that the one guy who used to sell the caps, basically. And he used to visit different places and so on. So one day he was traveling into the forest and then he fell asleep. And then he just stepped off and the monkeys came and they took away all the caps. All right. Then he recovered his cap. because he saw that all the monkeys are wearing these caps in the top and everything. And then he said that now I want to recover. So how do I do that? So he pulled out his cap and threw on the ground. So all the monkeys threw. That's the story everybody knows about it. Okay. But then there's a part two of the story. The part two of the story is that he became very old. He had a grandson. So he was explaining that how old he was and how successful he was to recover those cats from the monkeys and all that. So he says, if you prefer your profession, prefer different profession, but if your luck is very bad, then you might end up selling the cats. It's fine. The luck was not good, so this guy became the salesman again of the cat. And he was also traveling in the forest like his grandson. And one day the same thing happened to him. All the caps were taken by the monkeys. And then he remembered his grandfather had told this story that, okay, this is something which you can recover. So he threw his cap on that. And then suddenly they found from a small monkey came. He picked up his cap, slapped him, and said, "We too have a grandparents." Okay, so, all right, so the teaching is that you create the academicians through this workshop. What we are trying to say is that a good teachers, so that we want that this knowledge gets percolated to our students. And they become, so I'll tell you, academic profession is such an exciting profession that you never ever get old in this profession. Because you are dealing with a crowd which is 18 to 22-year-old. You might get 65-year-old, but you're still dealing with a young crowd. And with every generation, you learn many things. And that is why you've chosen this profession. So let us enjoy this profession with the fullest and make the best out of it. That is where I actually personally feel that the academics is something which is, I think, the whole profession as it is there. It has become attractive also, pretty good salary nowadays they give, and much more relaxed life. But at the same time, of course, a lot of responsibility. The new education policy also talks about it, how to implement the digital pedagogy and different kind of teaching learning experiences we do. So with this, I just want to close my speech, but I just want to thank Professor Pushpalata and all our coordinators, okay? Professor Prashant, Professor Gautam, and of course, Mika, and also all the people of PLC members who have been really working very, very hard. And I'm sure you will enjoy their hard work, what they have done, and all that. And I made sure that you get a pretty good food as well. So Professor Pushpalata has made sure that everything is taken care of. So enjoy your day, and I'm sure the next part will be there of a IQW where you will have a wonderful experience. So thank you so much once again. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring words. We are slightly tight in the schedule, so let us quickly assemble for the group photograph outside the auditorium on my left hand side.
Let us quickly assemble there because
फोन कर दिया क्या
that's good.
So how are you?